Yeah.
What's up, Bill Apter? What's up?
You know what I'm doing there in that video, by the way? That's the mouse. Soupy Sales used to do.
Yes, that is the mouse.
The mouse. Hey, you can do it in your house, on the rugs, or on the wall. If your folks get mad, do it in the hall.
You know what I love about Bill Apter? I love a lot of things about Bill Apter.
Well, likewise with you,
I love about Bill Apter. You know, you are truly a brother from another mother, man. You say you give me the same spiel all the time, over and over and over again. You tell me the same Soupy Sales mouse thing for like 83 times now.
Some of our newest viewers, I mean, never.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen.
What I used to love, what he did, by the way, I'm going to say something. Your line is, "Why don't you take him to a doctor?" Okay, Dr. Chris, you got to help me.
Why don't you take him to him? Why don't you take him to a doctor?
No, not yet. Not yet. Play along. You got to say what's wrong, and then, all right.
Oh, Dr. what's Chris, wrong? What's wrong?
Well, it's my wife.
What's wrong with
my wife? My wife thinks she's a vacuum cleaner.
Why don't you take her to a doctor?
And how am I going to clean the floor?
How are you going to clean the floor? Wow.
Yeah, that's the Soupy Sales used to do that all the time. He'd change it. Oh, Dr. Chris, you got to help me. It's my wife.
What about your wife?
She thinks she's a mattress.
What about the mattress?
No, wait. Why don't you take her to It's always the same line.
Why don't you take her to the mouse? To the mouse?
No, to the doctor.
What is it again? What am I doing?
Okay, Dr. Chris, my wife thinks she's a mattress.
Why is she a mattress?
No. Why don't you?
Why does she think she's a mattress? You need to take her to a doctor.
You're right. Well, then, where am I going to sleep? All right, let's talk about.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
Generation gang. I'm down here at Apter's Alley. My other computer is not in Apter's at the Apter chat area is not working tonight. So right behind this shoulder, you see who's there?
No, I don't. I can't see him.
You can't see him?
I can't see him.
Can you see him now?
I can't see him.
We're here all night, folks. Thanks for the laugh. Why don't you take him to a doctor? So what do you think? Now, usually I start off the show with some things that I want to talk about why do you think, I have my own feeling about this, but why do you think he's back while I adjust my camera here?
I think John Cena is back because I think John Cena is back because of two things.
Okay.
Is what I'm theorizing. Okay,
Do one at a time.
I will do one at a time. Thank
Yeah,
you
we
for
don't
your
want to do
guidance
both.
there, Bill
We
Apter.
won't.
So one, I think that he's back because he probably is, understanding that, hey, he's getting a bunch of movie gigs, and he just can't keep teetering back and forth, along with the fact that his past couple years, 3 years, really, I mean, really longer than that, has been pretty lousy, man. I mean, like, I understand that they were trying to put people over, but I mean, if you're thinking 20 WrestleMania 2020, COVID year, that was the fun house gimmick with Bray. He lost. And then what, last year he lost to Austin Theory, and then he got shellacked by Solo Sokoa, in
Yep.
Saudi last year. So, like, Cena hasn't had a pretty good few years, and so I do think it's an opportunity for him to, just kind of put himself back in the legendary position that he's in. And I would also say that I do think that with the advent of this being free and clear of Vince McMahon, and John Cena being a Vince McMahon guy, I do think that he is deciding to call it quits since WWE is no longer under the Vince McMahon regime.
Okay, so I have a total other theory.
Okay,
Total other theory, and it's not Austin.
it's not Austin.
No. Here's my theory. WWE is on fire right now.
Okay.
Everything they're doing is working. Their ratings are good. They're going all over the world. Everything is beautiful. One of the things that brought them higher to a higher level, bringing in people who didn't watch pro wrestling or WWE, was when The Rock was there. Brought it up for a while. Then it leveled off, but it's still doing great.
Hmm.
So to me, with The Rock out of there, when you ask people who's in WWE, they're like, oh, they may come up with a name, but they'd always say The Rock during that period of time. The Rock was there because it was all over the place on internet, newspapers, everywhere. Now they've got John Cena, who everyone knows from his movie career, from his commercials, from the TV stuff he's done. So he's on kind of like that Rock level. So he brings the recognizable billboard type of name to the company now for a year, where it was The Rock, and now John Cena settles into that position. That's my personal view on it. I mentioned it on my Time Machine taping this week as well, but that, and in my newsletter, and that's what do you think about that theory?
I think it would make sense if the last one he did last year, he was there for several months during the
Yeah,
strike, and it didn't do anything as far as the ratings is concerned. It didn't bump up anything. He felt like everybody else, it was just kind of there. And
okay.
so I don't think he brings the aura that The Rock does.
No one does.
And I think Austin would. I think Austin would bring the aura of The Rock if Austin did a run. But I just, I think that Cena's career, I think Cena's past few years have really, it hasn't tarnished his legacy. He's still, a legendary name in WWE. But
Iconic.
I will say that it tarnished his overall aura in the WWE. He doesn't feel larger than life, as far as an appearance is concerned. I think that Cena He overstayed his welcome in many ways with these runs, and I think that if you're continuing to put people over, losses, wins, people beating you doesn't have as much umph, so to speak, if you still protect your record and wins and losses matter. So all these losses from Cena over the past few years, I think it kind of. And so what I would hope that Cena does, I hope that Cena actually goes on a long winning streak. And I think what he should do is I think he should win matches throughout the entire year, and his final loss at the end of the year would be whoever beats him would go over. You know what I mean?
So who's the guy?
That's interesting because if he's going to be on SmackDown,
maybe he'll be on both.
Okay, so if he's on Raw, I think Gunther should beat him. If he's on SmackDown, Carmelo Hayes stands out to me. I was going to say, I think that it wouldn't surprise me if they did do something like that. I've told you before, personally, I'm not sold on Carmelo. Like I'm not sold on him. NXT, like I think he fit very well. Now he's like a medium-sized fish in a kind of smaller fish in a big pond. Say that again.
Why pick him?
Why pick him? Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think that they would do something like that. Like as far as my personal pick, it's got to make sense to me. You know what I mean? I'm just not the fantasy guy. It's just got to make sense to me in real life too. So we're thinking of the end of next year. Who I want to be someone who makes a huge name for himself and be a top star. I mean, Solo's already beat him. It didn't do it. He lost for 5 months after beating John Cena.
He's not the guy.
Yeah. On SmackDown, and
anyone in the WWE roster, I'm talking about it. Let's not separate the.
Well, I already have Gunther. I mean, I think they're. I mean, if they keep the rosters split, which they probably will, I think that his last match should be against Gunther, and I think Gunther should beat him. I think Gunther should be champ at the time. I think Gunther should be world champ at the time. I think Cena's last match should be for the title against Gunther, and then Gunther should beat him.
And I'm looking at it differently. Although he was beaten at the pay-per-view, the PLE, I think the way to elevate Bron Breakker is to have that as seen as build it up as seen as last match. I see him as the guy. I really do. CM Punk has said he wants him, but CM Punk's been there, done that, and maybe not with Cena, but I just think that they have to find the right vehicle for an iconic figure that they call the greatest of all time. I don't want to argue about that. I don't think he is. No. I mean, he's great, but not the greatest of all time. No. But I think Bron Breakker is by then should be in that position to do that.
I think a face heel dynamic where the fans can really get behind John Cena would be a really good psychological way out for him.
I agree.
I don't think that Bron Breakker would be a full-fledged heel to really open up that space for people to chant John Cena.
Really?
I don't think so. Because Braun, he naturally the type of acceleration that he has, even if he's trying to get heat, people still cheer for him because he has that type of intangible to him, high energy. People still give some chance, even with the Sammy feud. I mean,
but with the Sammy feud, they booed him, and then he threw the chair at Sammy on Monday Night Raw. No, I think he was getting really, really good heat.
Yeah,
I
but they split it though. And it's easy for them, and it'll be really easy for Braun to still get heat. I don't think that Braun would be an established heel by that time.
I
I don't.
agree. I
I think
agree.
that I think he'll be more of a baby face. By the time we're talking a year and a half from now, I think
Yeah.
that Braun would be more of a baby face. I think Braun would be a baby face by that time. I don't
Well,
think that he's gonna. I don't think that he's gonna be an established heel. It fell flat in NXT from what I saw. I mean, it worked in the beginning, but that the reason why it worked for Braun in the beginning of NXT is because he was a babyface for so long, and people were surprised and disappointed that he made the turn. So and that worked for him. He was more evil and things like that. But his the way that he works in the ring is he has a punch to him that the fans like.
yeah, he's
And
a natural heel as far as I'm concerned. Just as
Braun
far as,
is.
yeah,
No, I don't think
yeah,
so.
definitely, definitely. I look at
I
him
don't
as a
think his
natural
ring
heel.
work reflects. I think that he needs to cool. I think he needs to really adjust his ring, the type of ring work that he does if he wants to be a full fledged heel. He's not garnering any heat.
Well, they're
Like
not. They're not. They're
he's
not
not getting any
giving.
heat. Like he does these spears, he does these high impact moves, and then he barks like a dog, and the fans start barking with him.
Yeah,
That's what
there's an
happens.
attitude. There's an attitude there that I see.
Yeah,
We're
and that's
allowed to
fine. You
disagree.
can be a babyface with an attitude. Now,
Yeah,
Austin
no,
was.
I
So
see him as a heel. I see him as a
yeah,
heel.
I, look, see him as a heel regardless, but he still isn't doing a good job. If you see him as a heel, he's not doing a good job right now of being
Not
a
right
heel.
now. No, no. We're talking a year down the
But I
line.
don't see him changing though.
I
I
do.
don't see him. I don't see Braun Breakker the way that he competes. He would have to drastically change the way that he
Yeah,
wrestles if he wants to get that type of
I'm
heat.
going to tell you something.
And that would go against who Braun Breakker is as a
Several people have told me, including Hulk Hogan, that if he's good like he is right now and he doesn't know everything yet, by the time next year comes around, this guy's going to be all the way on top. This is how the pros are telling me. When Hogan and I talked about that, that was the first thing
yeah.
he brought up. He says, "Can you
Honestly,
imagine
Bill.
what he's going to be?" Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, just because Hogan says it doesn't mean
No,
that
no, I'm
me
just
it's way
telling
to
you,
go.
people in the business are telling, and I buy it too. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean that's fair to say, but I mean, the next question to Hogan would be, how much do you watch the business to even know? I mean, like
Oh, he watches it weekly.
he
I
told you
talk to
that,
him. Yes, yeah, he told me that.
and you
Definitely.
believe
And
it.
I see, but before he even said that to me, and hopefully they'll run that interview soon, even before he said that to me, I feel that Braun heel thing coming. I really do. I looked at him first like you did, like a popular heel, like the Road Warriors became.
Yeah,
I
that's a
that.
good way
Yeah,
to that's a good
yeah,
thing.
yeah. But now I see him, I don't know, becoming more malicious. So while
But
we're
if
on the
he's,
subject,
but I think if he's doing the same thing that he's doing right now, it's not going to work.
no, it's not.
Someone needs to tell him. Someone
Mm,
needs if he's going to be the next big heel, like top heel
yeah.
in a year and a half.
Mhm.
He needs to drastically change the way that he's competing, and that would be he would need to get heat. Braun
Oh, of
isn't
course.
getting heat.
Not yet. Not yet. It's not enough. They're trying to build it up. The chair thing with Sami Zayn, that brought him a little more heat there. So
Yeah,
that's
but fans were cheering though. That's the thing, because he did a spear and he
I
did a
didn't
root.
see it
The
that
more
way.
that he does, the barks, the more that like if I was um doing some psychology work for these wrestlers, I would tell Braun he needs to stop eliciting the cheers of the crowd. He has to stop doing that.
See,
And I
and I
don't
don't
think that
hear
there's
them like
anyone
you do.
backstage. I don't think there's anyone backstage that's really going to um, hone him in on his character work, though.
I don't see it the way you do. I felt the fans were pretty much against him
Watch watch on Monday. Watch on Monday. He'll do the overhead shot of going around doing the spear, and the fans cheer that every time.
Oh yeah, during the spear they cheer that, but during other parts of it they weren't cheering.
And they shouldn't cheer it. That's my point. If he does that against Cena, that's precisely my point, Bill. If he does that stuff like that against Cena, would not take it. It wouldn't help the babyface heel dynamic if he's doing things that's going to elicit cheers. And even when he's doing the fast, back and forth, that elicits cheers. The spear elicits cheers.
Yeah.
He just can't do that.
It depends how they plant this, because let's say he is the opponent, then a month or two before that, they have to put the seeds in of him attacking Cena during this, him causing Cena to lose to a bum, or this type of thing. They've got to plant the right seeds.
Mm-hmm.
That should do it. So while we're talking about turning baby faces and heels, what do you think of MJF's turn on AEW Dynamite?
I thought it was lousy.
Why was it lousy?
Because it just, man, I mean,
better as a heel.
Now that I agree with for sure. But at the same time, I just don't. I mean, you got to make it make sense. I mean, you're hugging Danny Garcia, and then all of a sudden you kick him in the nads. I mean, and then what makes it even worse is that there's no payoff for the devil angle. I mean,
here's what I think is going to happen. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think that he was hoping Daniel Garcia was going to beat Will Ospreay because he knew that MJF, could beat Daniel Garcia at Wembley Stadium. So now Daniel Garcia loses. MJF goes crazy. Okay, so the match at Wembley, Garcia and MJF, not a billboard match. I've used that word a couple of times, but not a billboard match. But now MJF, Daniel Garcia, and Will Ospreay makes it a more interesting situation. Not to you. I love your reaction.
Yeah, it's mad at me. I mean, I just again, man. Here's the thing, Bill, and this is what differs you and I, my brother. Yes. You are an avid in the bubble pro wrestling enthusiast. All right, I'm not. Yeah. I'm not. It's got to make sense to me, man. It's got to make sense outside of the bubble to me. It's got to make psychological sense to me. It has to. It has to make storyline. It has to make story. I know. I understand that. So, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I think that wrestling has become more of a niche and that is losing viewership, because you have so many people that will eat alive, that would eat up anything that's brought to them. I mean, that's not how I think. I mean, that's not how I think. That's just period. Not even beyond wrestling. I'm going to vet. I'm going to question. I'm going to do all those things, and then I'll concede if it makes sense to me. And so, just because people are booking matches and people are turning, look, man, that does nothing to me. That doesn't draw my interest. I'm not excited about MJF turning heel and making it a triple threat. I don't care about that. What I'm interested in is payoffs, logic, storylines, climaxes, so to speak. It's a story to me. And so it doesn't make sense to me for MJF to turn and you have no payoff for the devil gimmick. Now, what would have made sense as far as the turn is concerned is if MJF turned on Adam Cole and revealed that Adam Cole thought that he was the devil behind all of those names, but in fact, MJF was behind it the whole time, and Adam Cole was the one who was duped.
How many
And
fans
so
actually
all
remember?
all of the people who joined Adam Cole's faction turns on Adam Cole, and then there you go, MJF
See,
leads
that's
it.
the whole
That
thing.
would
The
make
whole
sense.
thing, the whole thing is fans don't remember. Like you mentioned, Adam Cole, and to me, even though it was fairly recently, it seems like it was 5 years ago
Because
already.
it was boring. It was no payoff to it.
Yeah, there was no. But I
There's no
think the
pay-
payoff now making this a triple threat match makes
that's
it.
not a payoff, though. That's
More,
not a payoff to the angle.
no, the
That's zero
payoff
payoff.
to the angle is that MJF comes up and wins the belt. That's the payoff to the angle.
That's not the payoff to the angle. No.
Well, that's what the way I'm looking at
The
it.
payoff, but that's not the payoff to the angle, though. Like the payoff, the angle was MJF, Adam Cole were teammates.
Yeah.
Adam Cole was jealous that MJF was champion. Adam Cole lost multiple times. He got into MJF's good graces. Why would the payoff be MJF become champion if he was already champion from the start?
Because he wants, number one, he wants a belt back. No, we're talking about Ospreay's belt now, the international championship. But again, you remember the Adam Cole
But
thing
what's the
really
payoff,
well.
though?
The payoff is that he gets the belt.
The payoff to the devil angle is that he gets the
Not
international
with
championship.
the devil. Nobody is thinking of the devil angle. They're just thinking about the new angle that just came up.
No, they're not. they're not doing. See, and
the
again,
way I
that's
see it.
why it goes back to. That's why it goes back to. It gets difficult for people who aren't in the bubble to stay close and stay interested in the product if you keep changing stuff up. Like if you think about it, even from an episodic movie, pro wrestling is weekly episodic television, right? So if you're thinking of a sitcom, if you have a story arc from 6 months ago, and then you're like, oh, we're just going to change it, and then the psychology behind that is, oh, they'll forget about it. No, that's not going to cause any interest in the sitcom, because with the mentality of, oh, they'll forget about it, that's horrible. That's not going to work.
I think that's part of what they're doing in AEW, because until you reminded me, and I watch this all the time, until you reminded me that whole thing was wiped out, and it started a brand new thing started with Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia, and Will Ospreay. It's like that other thing never even existed.
And that's why people check out. That's again, the wrestling bubble, it doesn't matter what you bring to them. They're going to watch it. And that's not good business. That's not good business. That's like saying I'm a CBO, or CFO, or COO for Target. I'm going to bring you a half strap, shirt, and someone who's an avid Target shopper, they're going to buy it regardless. But that's not why I'm promoting this to
people. No, I get it.
So the audience outside of Target to come to Target. That's where my business is going to come from. If I keep appeasing the people who are avid Target purchasers, that's not moving my business up. That's not scaling up my business. That's a horrible business model, because I'm only appeasing the people who already buy from Target. And so that's the same thing what wrestling is doing. You're only appeasing to people who are already avid fans of the product. That's a bad business.
What it is, depending upon that's AEW.
WWE does that too.
Well, they do, but look at the business they're doing. So
yeah, I mean, they're good. They're linking up with international companies, and they have a good digital presence. But at the same time, if you're thinking about it from a niche standpoint, WWE lost over 1 million viewers post Rock. So again, you're not retaining those viewers. You're just keeping the viewers that you have. And so you have a WWE has a good business model. WWE is fantastic with knowing what to say and how to say it. I mean, that's the advantage that WWE has. And plus, now you're under the TKO umbrella with Ari Emanuel, who are, seeing good numbers and things like that. So they're able to work with Netflix and things like that. So they have, look, I'm not going to knock WWE's business model whatsoever. The only problem is the more you continue to ride on that, the more it's going to hurt them as a company, to continue to say, okay, well, 1.8 million viewers is good enough.
I get it.
So, and then you have to consider, and then you have to consider the Fox deal. Like, it was a 5-year deal, and yes, you go to Netflix, but a lot of times, a lot of people aren't talking like, is it because Fox didn't want you again? You know what I mean? And so that's something to really consider as well when it comes to SmackDown. So, I mean, they're bringing in a little over 2, but at the same time, it's like, are you scaling up? Or are they satisfied with those numbers? It doesn't seem like they're the best.
We've got some paying customers here, I'm seeing.
We do.
Why don't we answer some of those questions?
Rollin, $2. Why does Cole insist on calling Cena the GOAT?
Oh, I don't know. That drives me crazy.
I agree.
It really does. I mentioned that earlier.
Same here.
Drives me crazy. Because Cena's great. I don't take any of that away, but the greatest of all time?
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with. I think it's because of tenure. I mean, Heyman put Cena over that way too. It just seems like it's a tenure thing.
I agree with you on that.
Completely. I'm not a fan. We got the villain, $5. Dr. Chris, do you enjoy the psychology of how wrestling actually, quote, works on people with matches that, quote, make sense, or of the people themselves more?
Interesting.
Actually, I'm trying to understand the question of how wrestling actually works on people with matches that make sense, or the people themselves more. I'm trying to understand that question.
Do you enjoy the psychology of how wrestling works on people with matches that make sense, or the people themselves? The psychology of the match, or the people in the match? That's how I'm reading.
Okay. I think it's a combination of both. I mean, when it comes to psychology in wrestling, you have to draw people to be locked on. You have to draw people who are not as interested or have little interest in the product or the story, whatever. A good business model psychologically, even when it comes to like occupational psychology, you have to have a business model to people who don't know about the business. You have to pretend that there's someone out there who knows nothing about the business, and then you have to promote something that's so riveting and so interesting that is causing them to at least get in the door. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And then you can work on the retention, but you can't work on the retention if they're not in the door. So you have to do that. So that causes, that includes storylines, that includes a lack of monotony, something interesting, something captivating, cliffhangers. All those things are really important when it comes to retention, when it comes to bringing people in the door. The retention is continue to build off on angles and not do the same thing week after week, like 5 weeks of Judgment Day playing video games. I mean, that's not going to elicit, consumer retention by continuing to see people play video games. That's going to cause someone to turn the channel. So that's my take on that. Rollins, $4. Thank you. Don't bet on Hogan's vision. Hogan also said Matt Riddle was the next big star. Hogan said, quote, Riddle would be the next one I put my money on. There you go. That's for you.
I got it, but I'm not going to change
Bill.
my mind. I got it, but I'm not going to change my mind. Hogan may have said that too, but in my candid conversation with him, when I asked him about Bron Breakker, that's what he said. And I'm a very strong advocate, not a Heyman. I'm a strong advocate of Bron Breakker. I think
he also said that about Kevin Owens too.
What's that?
He also said that about Kevin Owens too.
Oh, I understand that. Kevin Owens does great. He's got his own thing
He's
out there.
he's not nowhere near the next big
Oh
star.
no, no, no,
Never was.
no, no. But I think give Bron Breakker another year, and he's going to just be the guy that we're all talking about.
I'm not. I don't agree. I don't. And
Yeah, it's okay.
we'll see. That's right. That's right. Man. That's what makes this show exciting with you, my brother.
Yeah.
I like Braun. I like him. I want him to do well, but
it doesn't matter if you like him.
It does. I mean, I like him personally. I'm invested in his character, but I'm not invested enough to think that he's going to be the next big heel. No, I think that Gunther is a bigger heel than Braun is.
Right now, that's absolutely true.
And I think he will be. And a Gunther Braun babyface heel match. Now that would be something I'd be interested in.
You know what I like, by the way, when we talk about interesting, is that Damian Priest is such a polite world champion. He's actually, when I'm looking at him, he's bringing an aura of a world champion to that belt. I love how he doesn't go crazy and he's not yelling and screaming, about his championship and all this. He's very cool and maturing, and I really like I like what his character is that he's reasonable, he's polite, and he just holds that world championship like a champion.
Wonderful. Yeah. I don't agree, but
that's okay.
I don't think that Priest is.
Welcome to the disagreement hour, folks.
No,
I'm just saying the aura that he's a gentleman with the title.
Yeah, I mean that's weird to me. He's a heel. Like, why in the world is a heel a polite gentleman? That's not a heel.
They're going to move away. They're going to move away from.
Yeah, but they're not doing a good job with it. Like
not yet. But
he's a polite gentleman heel. Like that just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, the thing that he and Seth Rollins did on Monday Night Raw impressed me, about the gentleman's agreement. And, even though he's not yet right now going to leave the Judgment Day, I think he and Rhea are going to shoot away from the Judgment Day.
I'm hoping that they don't do something together.
I think they're going to do.
I think anything dealing with the Judgment Day has absolutely marred Damian Priest. He needs to be far away from the Judgment Day. That's
why I said he's going to move away from them.
I think even with Rhea, he needs to be so far away from anything Judgment Day after all of this is wrapped up. He needs to be so far away from Judgment Day. And the problem I see with that is they tried to make him a babyface before. Before he went, it did work initially. When he was with Bad Bunny, he was super over.
Oh yeah, with Bad Bunny,
he was red hot. Yeah. He was red hot, and then they booked him as just a bland babyface. I don't see that being different. I think that they would do the same thing. I just don't have enough confidence in WWE really making something out of Damian Priest. And the thing is, the dude's money. I like Priest. He just oozes career. There's a presence about him that should be in the main event, but I don't think they're doing a good job.
Is your guy Gunther going to beat him for the World Heavyweight Championship? I know I say the same thing. I'm not sure.
TBC. We'll talk. We'll talk about that in predictions. We'll have a predictions show, and we'll unpack that a little bit more. So, all right. $5 real quick. The villain Bill, who in your opinion over all the years have been a true role model in the wrestling business as a remarkable person despite any gimmicks? DJ Villain.
Over all the years, God, I started in the 70s. So it really goes by eras. I mean, Bruno Sammartino was the role model. Even though he was a heel, one of my favorite role models was Nick Bockwinkel, one of the classiest champions ever. Jack Briscoe, Dory Funk Jr. These are all role models. Current day role model would be, and nothing to do with his championship, but the way Cody Rhodes presents himself, not as his character, as the Cody Rhodes wrestler character, but a role model for doing good things and being a good person and doing so many great things for the business and out of the business. Yeah. So,
I can agree with that. I've met Cody. He presents himself as very professional. So, all right, Bill Apter, let the listeners know where to find you, my brother.
oh, right here in
Hold on, hold on a
Actors.
second. Hold on a second. First of all, let me before all the troll marks make any comments on socials. Oh my gosh, what is it? This guy, this is my brother right here. All right.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we have heated conversations. It's all out of love. It's all. I hate explaining myself, by the way, but it's all out of love. It's before anybody has some stupid take on Bill Apter and I. We have conversations. It's all love. That's my bro. I love this guy. We're close friends, and so
sometimes I need to fight with him to make my point, and he won't agree anyway. But it keeps my adrenaline running.
Yes, and I love it because you'll have the stupid marks trolls. Oh my gosh, why would he do that? Like, don't say anything about Bill.
Stupid trolls. They're not all stupid trolls. Now there you go.
Most. All right, let's go with Rollin. Hulk Hogan is being accused of racism once again for for firing black women and replacing her with white women. Will WWE move Hogan from WWE again? I don't think so.
No, it's an accusation.
I don't think so. I'm not going to say come on. I'm not going to dismiss it. I'm not going to minimize it. I do think that it's something that should be worth putting some thought and some conversation with as a black man. I do think it's worth putting some conversation in. As far as like how far to go, no, I don't think.
But we don't know what happened there.
Yeah, but at the same time, man, the writing's on the wall of of why, and I've looked further into it, within her socials and things like that. She was interviewing, has an interview. I was even thinking about reaching out to her to bring her on this show. But I would like to get more of her take on all this because I don't want Hogan's clout to be shrouded over just this important thing.
No, but we should get his take as well if we're going to get hers.
Yeah, I mean, sure, get his take, but here's the problem with a lot of Hoganisms, man. Like Hogan doesn't have a good track record of being honest in many ways, and so that's the unfortunate part of that. Now you can get Hogan's take, and that's fair, but at the end of the day, she was the one that was let go. She was the one that was fired. And of course, it's from a company standpoint, companies spin things all the time. So
yeah, but we don't know what the real reason was why she was let go until
we know what she said. We know what she said, and I'm definitely going to defend a model who just wanted a job. That's who I'm going to defend. I'm going to defend.
I want more information from both sides.
Listen, I'm going to defend a model who wanted a job, who got fired for no apparent reason, according to what she said.
No apparent reason, but
she said that she was never explained why she got fired. She said that she was never given a reason. She just was let go, and then all of a sudden, she saw two white women as brand ambassadors. Soon after she was let go, she didn't get any reason. So that sucks as far as just someone getting let go without them knowing. I don't care who it is. If you're fired without being, if you're being fired without being told why you were fired, if what she's saying is true, I think that's an issue to me.
Yeah, but what we don't know is, was there a third party involved in the beer thing that let her go? And Hogan told her she was gone. Who hired her? Hogan or the marketing people that were doing the beer thing? Do we know that?
Whoever it is, that's on Hogan's.
We need to know that.
That's on Hogan's watch. whoever it is that's on Hogan's watch. So he's the leader of it all. He has veto power. He can tell people to stay if he wants them to stay. So
all right, I want more facts.
We shall see as this continues to develop. This guy right here, after one wrestling,
and brother,
I'm gonna bring a picture of Essence. That's what I want to do.
But listen, for all you people that are watching on the East Coast here, this Saturday, and if you go to 90s Wrestling Con on Facebook, this Saturday at 4:00 in the afternoon, I will be doing in Atlantic City, my one-man show. Nice. It's 90s Wrestling Con. Eric Bischoff will be there. The Hardys, Big Papa Pump will be there, and a lot of other legends this Friday. So come and see my one-man show. You ain't seen nothing like it. I promise you, baby, if you will.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Bill Apter is constantly doing some amazing work in the world.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well respected, my man. Well respected.
Thank you.
All right, this guy right here is Bill Apter. I'm Dr. Chris.
That guy over there is Dr. Chris. And over there, if you can see him, is
I can't see him.
John Cena.
I still don't know who you're talking about. I can't see him.
See you at the matches.
I can't. So low.
Put on your glasses.